Jean might have his work cut out trying to get a Tracer game off Hacky after that dominating performance in game number 1. He receives the hat. He does get the clone as the Abathur himself. That's probably the closest he's going to see after what he was able to output there, Vandy. Single-handedly just, dismantling the Pleb2Pro roster.
Very well played by Hacky. And as I said, sometimes with Tracer, when you are trying to fight off the lanes in those little enclosed areas with the lanes, she can get limited value, but Hacky was showing that was not going to be a problem. And going in with that Abathur hat, as you said, we did have Azure onto Tracer, but it was the poor man's version with the ultimate evolution. Didn't even matter because half the time Hacky was just sealing the deal by himself. And it was just, as you said, a very dominating performance. Pleb2Pro, we did see some sparks, some good fights that they took, and also some good trades. But ultimately, that experience coming out from Crimson also proved a little bit too hard to deal with on that map.
The experience, the overall tenacity that they are known for definitely proved to be very, very strong. But coming to game number 2 for this best of 3 series, we have Infernal Shrines being picked up here with the first pick in favor of Pleb2Pro. So an interesting one because Crimson actually, that's the most played map for the season to start off with. It's a map which is probably the most balanced map in the game, quite honestly. It has a little bit of everything. Team fighting, macro, and I think my favorite part about this map, slight meme aside, is that you can actually legit draft Alex Straza on it.
Yeah, I mean, we know Quality is a big fan, busting that one out without any shame. And she quite works. Skibby quite a fan of the Dragon Lady herself. And she does work when everyone's clustered up like that on Infernal Shrines and you can really telegraph where your team are going to be. So what's that Dragon Queen? Once you're in it, you just manage to just cast your E onto all the little dudes go flying. You're like, thanks for the free John Cena.
The free John Cena, indeed. The healing output when you are in that Dragon Queen is second to none and really plays around the idea of what this map's focal objective is. Get that Punisher and just push and push and push. And, obviously it ramps up, it scales up like any map would do, but the ability to have it timed without having to, talent into the Flame Buffet build and just have it ready to go every single time for that objective just makes it very hard for teams to push into. But here the draft begins. And here we get to see exactly how these teams respond.
Pleb2Pro, I mean, where did it all go wrong for them, Skimmy? Maybe it was that slight ban. If we had opted to ban an Uther instead of that Rhaegar, could have been a lot easier, especially if you're going to run that double reset combo. Who is the best person? Who is the best support to try and stop that Uther himself? The Divine Shield, once you try and teleport in or Swift Strike in to get that final kill, suddenly you can't. That damage completely mitigated by the Divine Shield.
It was indeed, and I suppose a question could be asked about, the proactive early game. It's tough, right? Because a reset comp is looking to skirmish, but on a map that stretched out, very hard to play that style on that map. You would have loved to have seen a global direction taking place much, much earlier on. But regardless, Infernal Shrines will definitely cater to that idea that I just mentioned. It's going to have some intricate details about how you can try the draft. Garrosh is an interesting one. So Garrosh is actually a very, very strong tank, but on this map here, based on what you just mentioned about the objective, all those little skeletons, very hard to try and actually land your combo with them being always nearby.
It is, and as we said, Skimmy, he's very, very telegraphed. Teams already know if he's going to be hanging around you, that Groundbreaker is just inevitable to come, as well as if he is clustered around you, we're going to see that taunt coming out. So it is an interesting ban, and so it's that high respect coming out in terms of it's very interesting to always see what do teams value in terms of taking away comfort picks or taking away things that they find quite difficult to deal with, but also in terms of map, what do we prioritize taking away even more so? And for Pleb2Pro already, I'm thinking they want to run some kind of wombo that perhaps Garrosh would have really been able to throw a span into the works.
Yeah, objective aside, I feel like this is definitely a telegraph to say that they want to go for a composition that is looking to get into your face. They want to try and minimize the amount of peel that you yourself can emit onto the map. Maiev going to be taken off once again. Still such a damn notoriously strong hero. The ability to jump in, cluster people up, and just bring them into your grasp is second to none with all of these heroes kit. But Pleb2Pro are going to keep it safe. They're going to open up with Big Mopper on his Malfurion.
Big Mopper on the Malfurion, a hero that he's very, very comfortable with. The Kharazim, it did work for them, yes, but where it really stopped was that after the 7-sided strike went out, a lot of team members were really just hemorrhaging. He didn't have the healing potential. It's just that one heal, and then he needs to wait, charge it up. And he really didn't get to do that as well. If he was trying to dive in, he was getting completely destroyed. So didn't really work out for them in that fight. Malfurion, a lot safer this time around.
Give away too much. Obviously, caters to the idea that you're looking to try and run a sustained start. That's the biggest tell you'll get from a Malfurion, is that you're going to be very vulnerable to the burst. But still, universally accepted as the strongest support in the roster for supports at the moment. Question is, though, where do Crimson respond? Do they go for the Johanna and Blaze? For the fantastic wave clear, the point control? They stick to the true and trust that it is the Muradin. They read that Garrosh ban and say, well, thank you. That means Sonya is available for us. That gives them one, excellent engage, excellent dive, and most importantly, just excellent point control.
And they also do get an excellent solo laner as well to hold that top point. But now the Tracer being taken away from them, I was wondering, were we going to see the Tracer being picked up by either team? And it's just too good to let through Pleb2Pro say, so they're happy to play it. Physics, we know he's played a good Tracer. He's played a lot of Tracer. And I'm be keen to see what he can do with it, especially when you got that Tacita. So almost like the poor man's Abathur, but not really the poor man's Abathur. Still quite a good hero in itself, especially when you've got some synergy going on with other members of your team.
Be interesting actually coming into the next banning phase where you go to. I was going to say a Johanna ban. I'm glad to see that came through. Gives them the wave clear that they desperately need when you run a Tracer comp. Malfurion no longer has the ability to shred through those minion waves with that Moonfire. You're going to be single-handedly relying on Tacita, which is weak to become average at best once he completes that questing level 1 talent. So Johanna is a very heads-up ban. It really starts to choke out their options in terms of that tank. You know, maybe a Blaze as a solo tank. We've seen it happen before. We'll give them that wave clear that they need, but it's going to give them some very strong engage as well. So a smart ban. The question is, though, Vandy, the direction that Pleb2Pro try to respond with to try and shut down the Tracer hypercarry style.
I mean, we did say that Uther was kind of going to be a lot of what we saw just going wrong for them in terms of that last game. Yes, it was quite difficult. We did get the resets, but the same could be said here. If they did want to ban something like an Uther, opting to ban out a Zeratul instead, not really wanting that really squishy backline to be picked. It is a good one in itself, but I'm also just thinking if the Tracer is going to make sure that she gets those pulse bombs, Uther is very good at stopping them, but you also do have that Muradin and Sonya that you need to contend with as well.
Zeratul is definitely a targeted ban. I mean, there's one aspect that says he's fantastic for the wave clear with his cleave. The other is that he can literally 100 to 0 the Tracer before the response burst heal from Fury can be patched up by the plasma shield Tacita does. So interesting to see them adapt and tech into the Zeraban. Wonder though where we go in terms of this draft now. Questions are, still you got some fantastic power picks, and that of Blaze, that of Stukov, that springs to mind for me as well. You can obviously go with stun into lurking arm, and members get taken down for free. They are going to stick to the true and trusted power picks. It seems to be the theme of tonight, Vandy. Karazim across the board.
Again and again.
Tracer, it has to be Karazim to respond and punch him down. And the Genji, it's almost as if we have flipped the switch, just like the first series of the night. We've done it again. I'm getting deja vu flashback moments all over the show, and maybe Crimson saying, we'll show you how to play this kind of comp.
Was just going to say that, Skimmy. It's exactly like a flip. We've got the Sonya, Genji, and Karazim now picked up on the side of Crimson, who we just saw Pleb2Pro rocking, and now we've got the Malfurion Tracer, which Crimson were rocking on the side of Pleb2Pro. Oh, sorry, not the Malfurion, just the Tracer. I don't know what game I was in, but the Malfurion was not in it. Hello? Yrel?
Okay. 2 seconds. I said that Yrel would be played in HGC. Nobody believed me.
I believed you.
Hang on a minute.
Except I thought it'd be after her rework. I didn't think
This
it'd be
is the old Yrel. This isn't
Yeah.
even a new one. So she's still, in my opinion, weak.
She is. We're talking about telegraphed attacks, and Yrel, she is pretty much just sitting there with a red flag, just going back, look at what I'm doing, I'm charging up, please interrupt me. Abathur again as well. Very strong way to finish things off. Really going to empower the Karazim, the Genji, as well as that Muradin if they choose to jump in. Blaze being the last one picked up.
Will find value here. Karazim, Genji, Sonya, Muradin all can do so much work when that hat is put on their head, but the Blaze is going to be looking to try and shut things down, just like last game, to try and delay the all-in potential. Yrel, for me, has to be the highlight of this.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
just gonna.
my
All
God.
eyes are gonna be on Konya Jurel. I want to see. Are we gonna get some value? Is he gonna just be memed for eternity for this game? Let's wait and see. A lot of players, a lot of the community feels she's currently too weak in her current state, and I mean, Blizzard felt the same and felt the need to tweak her a little bit, and going to see how she then performs after that. But let's see. She can be quite a nuisance, and she has tons of CC to boot. But as I said, her real problem is the fact that when you are winding up, you have to channel it as well as you slow it down completely. And that just can be so difficult, especially when you've got high mobility being really the name of the game in this current meta.
We'll add to the diving potential as almost a backup Mirrodin is how I've started to play her. She definitely feels quite fluid in that regard. But let's jump it off. It's Infernal Shrines game number 2, brought to you by McDonald's Australia. As we kick it off with Pleb2Pro and some fancy feet drafting. I am loving this. Moops playing Malfurion. Yrel making her competitive debut in the ANZ HGC, played by Konya. Encore known as Mitzi on Tracer. Firstly on Blaze, and Physics on Tassadar.
And on the side of Crimson in the red, we have KVA playing Muradin, Shadow on Karazim, Jesmez playing Sonya, Azure on Abatha, and Haki playing Genji. And interesting, I was thinking perhaps it was going to be Physics playing the Tracer. No, in fact, it's going to be Encore, formerly known as Mitzi. Ooh, that pronunciation.
What's also very interesting is that they've actually gone for the heal on level 1 for Yrel. I was assuming they were going to go for the armor, so it gives you physical armor whenever you use an ability for 2 seconds. That finds so much value against what? Every single member of Crimson will do physical damage. So, opts for the more safe and sustaining option. We'll have to wait and see if that plays out.
Ooh, Schemie, I tell you what, it really will be the name of the game. And like I said, all eyes are going to be on at Konya to see, can he really make the Yrel pick perform for him? We're all just so curious because it's been the first time she's been played in HGC, at least for ANZ.
Definitely brings a lot to the table in terms of her Avenging Wrath, sets up things quite nicely. You then have the Divine Favor to instantly cast any of these wind-up skills. Not to mention her Q ability. It heals regardless if you hit anything or not. So she has fantastic wave clear. Wave clear obviously is one, but just sustain. And that Avenging Wrath that you saw it just use there, it has no wind-up. So you can just tap it and it does damage. So the best way I've found to play here is auto attack and just instantly double tap that. And you're just putting damage after damage after damage. But once again, guys, this is the old patch. Don't get too excited just yet. If she wins, it shows that the buff wasn't even warranted.
And everyone was just crying for nothing. That wouldn't be the first time, but I'm just having a joke here. I actually found her a lot of fun, Schemie, when I was playing her. I really do see a spot for her, but I also did feel that she needed a couple of changes addressed, or a little bit of tweaking, before I found her to be optimal.
Another adaptation actually at level 1 is Blaze. He's going for Adrenaline Stimpak, so instead of going for the mana and cooldown reduction, actually going for the attack speed and movement speed burst demand. So looking to try and kite, looking to engage, looking to outpour damage more fluid as he joins the ranks of Tracer and Yrel in that diving capacity. It'll be quite exciting to see how this all comes to life when we see our very first Punisher phase take place.
Yeah, the Punisher phase, especially this first one, will be a really good indication of how the rest of this fight, or the team fighting, will really come into play. Big Sun now onto Physics, but he is still safe. He still does have the phase to also escape with. Encore now just chucking out a Pulse Bomb and maybe staying a little bit too long. Luckily, he's able to escape with his life.
Ooh, down to 200. A first blood was looming, but we will be denied at 3 minutes into this one, and that coincides with the very first shrine spawning dead slap center of this map. As both of these teams jockey and jive around with a very small XP lead being picked up here by the side of Crimson. A lot of that comes down to their superior wave clip. They can find a kill as well. This is fantastic. They did it on Cursed Hollow. They've done it again. They just time these kills to perfection whenever an objective is available, and just like that, an explosive double kill.
Anticipating the rotations and really utilizing the fog to the best of their ability. And Crimson, as you said, the timing is impeccable. It just makes it so difficult now for Pleb2Pro to really gather any sort of defense on the Immortal. On the Punisher. You're kind of just giving it away for free.
Konya being focused down right now, the weakness of Yrel being exposed, and she has to channel. If she doesn't have that Divine Favor available, the Divine Purpose, I should say, sorry, to instantly cast that Avenging Wrath out of there. She is just a sitting duck. I suppose the one exciting part about this is what? We have a Tesla, we have a Malfurion. If you can have level 4, give the Naru, which gives heal on demand. Every 10 seconds, that's a burst heal as well. So really, it's pretty much the exact same again. It's all on Encore to make things happen.
We need to see that Tracer being able to get the value, as you said, to make the plays right there. So it's going to be a heavy burden to shoulder. First Punisher of the game is up. It's going to be an Arcane Punisher. The bite of John Cena, the muscles, they're still powering up Skimmy. It's also a little bit bite. Most of the time you can kite him over this front wall and then dispatch him quite easily, but it still is all about creating that pressure in the middle lane and getting some experience where you can.
Level 7 hit by Crimson as Pleb2Pro respond accordingly. They leash over the Punisher quite well. And this is going to be what you typically expect to find out that very first Punisher. A tower, a gate. Nothing too much more unless you have a very strong sieging composition, but without all the members being there because they all stuck to their lanes in a 3-lane split, looking to get XP in top lane, mid lane, and bottom lane to continue their XP snowball. Level 8 is where they're at. A full level lead now over their opponents here in Pleb2Pro.
Pleb2Pro, they do have their work cut out for them now. They do have to get some experience back from in terms of that kills that they let out early. But already they're trying to pick a fight here with KVA, but he's going to be healed up and also disengage easily.
Look at that. You saw on your map, Urel just galloping off instant mount Divine Steed at level 7. Probably my favorite skill or talent in the game for that fact, where you can just jump in, jump out, and get taken out just like Tracer did. Dismantled, destroyed, deleted, but KVA, oh dearie me, we have seen so many Muradins in the A&E wall tonight. Then they just keep bouncing back with that third wind.
Tracer did not jump in and jump out. She was just taking completely out. Night-night. And Shadow getting fully aggressive here, empowered by the Abatha. And this is why Karazim can be such a threat. As you said, the support, but he really does pack a punch.
Konya, locked in place here, has the Avenging Wrath. As he's dropping low, heal does come across. Haki was considering a dive, but wasn't to be considered any than that. The interesting talking point, obviously, with Malfurion being so prevalent as a support is the fact that we've now seen Abatha come across in 2 games for Crimson to say, look, if we are going to go for a burst style of support in Uther and Karazim, we don't have the Abatha to patch. He adds that sustaining heal with that Carapace. He adds that on-demand burst with the ability to jump it into the fight with the clone. So it's interesting to see how both of these teams have responded to what is, as you said, a double support meta.
Honestly, I'm loving it in terms of what Crimson are trying to do. The fact that they're able to now add an Abatha into their roster, into their hero pool, it's going to just be so good in terms of when you have to come up against, say, the Mind Freaks, who really were the only ones to try and dabble in that area for the longest time. It just expands as well in terms of how you can now play the map, utilize more of that macro, because that's really where ANZ we started to see was really lacking. In terms of we've got the team fight down fine, we've got the rotations down fine, but in terms of macro and utilizing that, not so good. Still room for improvement.
Still room for improvement. It's easy to watch VODs from the best teams in the world, but to be able to execute that is only what one team is able to do every few months. And that's predominantly been Mind Freak, who have been going to season after season championships abroad. And a big reason why they are so dominant, just like Crimson are right now, as Tesla is the first one to fall on down. A clone is there. The ultimate evolution is going to be putting in work as Genji is coming in twice as hot as before. And they jump in once, they jump in twice. X-Strike to disengage, of all things, as the Azure clone falls on down as well. But the damage was done, Vanny. 2 members of Pleb2Pro fall, and the objective will be theirs.
Skimmy, it's really interesting as well. Remember when we were at the Intercontinental Clash, we were seeing the difference in ANZ versus Latin, where we saw really Dragonblade being the go-to choice for Genjis in our region. Now it's predominantly shifted over to X-Strike, just really favoring what our Latin cousins were doing. Moves in so much trouble. He's not going to be able to get out. Gets picked for free. No escaping that one. And that's a weakness of Malfurion as well. If you do get isolated and you don't have your team to back you up, there's really not much you can do. You're a sitting duck.
It's confidence overflowing right now for Crimson, as they are not afraid to take any inch of this map. They will walk into your base, they will walk into your camp, and they will pay you a visit and send you home packing. 2 members of Crimson are pushing on through as they take down this second tower, doing as much as they can before the Punisher rocks up to the party. And they are on the cusp of hitting level 13, so a talent tier advantage, a 2-level healthy lead. They're looking to try and get a keep from this one, Vandy.
Crimson are playing serious. They want to get massive value, and they're pushing with that Punisher, making sure that they just take down this fort. And like I said, he could just march straight onto that front wall of the keep. And already you can see with Pleb2Pro, they know that they're a talent tier down, so they've chosen to just go full defensive and try to bait him over the wall.
Physics has pushed on through with the Khazra. Azure, as ever, is going to do his best to rectify that, but that's not the focus right now. It's all in the top lane. They're going to look to try and take down this kit. There comes out the Ultimate Evolution, looking to try and find a kill. If anybody drops on low, and that's where they're going to go to Sacred Ground. As long as she's in it, 40 armor for her. Gets knocked on out. There's the Blaze Bunker looking to jump on in. Can she get extra armor? 65 to her name, a hardened shield at only level 12. And that's going to be a Pulse Bomb. Reflect coming in clutch as Hacky survives in what would have been a very good turnaround here for Pleb2Pro, but they have put up an impressive base defense. No level 13, no problem. Slow after slow, CC colliding. KVA using the very last stretch of his mana, down to 15 to run away and look to fight another day.
Konya in hot pursuit as well, brings out the Sacred Ground, but Crimson were able to disengage for that. And Skimmy, I don't believe it. KVA with the Dwarven toss of the ages right there. Oh, Hackies were going back for the re-engage.
Instant X-Strike to get some damage across onto multiple members, and they just say, look, we gave you some warning shots, we didn't get the keep, we're angry. This time, we're getting a full. We're going to get complete chronological map control. We started in that top lane, gone. We're going to now go through mid lane and take that. And then, if that wasn't enough, let's take some camps for extra measure. Round number 2, as they look to open up and expose the keep in mid lane.
It's just got to feel rough as well. Pleb2Pro, they sniffed an opportunity. They wanted it so bad. If they got those kills, the experience would have equalized a lot in their favor. Instead, now they give up a fort. And that's just really showing the strength that Crimson have, and also the mobility that they have.
Scary times here as both teams are so close to hitting their own respective talent tiers. 13 to 16 and not there yet. This will be the closest that Pleb2Pro will be able to find. As Azure is single-handedly zoning out Mitzi. This is looking like a Crimson 1 fight, as there's no damage output for Pleb2Pro so far. Konya locked in a spot above it firstly as well. But the beefy members, their beefy nature is enough to survive on through. Both teams now finally hitting those thresholds, the all-important XP talent tiers. And what do you take away from that one, apart from the XP? Well, a shaman camp was denied away from them.
It was, and Skimmy as well. You saw the difference in terms of how much free reign Hacky was given as a Tracer, with how much free reign we've got Mitzi/Encore given on the Tracer. Mitzi is given no room, as you said, constantly just being bullied out. And it's so difficult when you don't, say, have the Abbot the Hat, or as well as, say, the Uther just bolster you. It becomes so much more difficult.
Bit of a desperation play there by Pleb2Pro as they go for an invade. If they'd gone a few seconds earlier, there would have been a much better story. Konya on his own, once again, fighting on that Sacred Ground, getting the 40 armor, full step back away. As KVA jumps into the back line to find and isolate a target onto moves it will be. The combo lands, but an ice block is impeccable as it denies every single thing. A palm, a very questionable palm. You don't see those come out of Shadow too often. It's not going to find any value at all as Hacky is topped up and healthy. This may be the last-ditch effort, the best chance that Pleb2Pro will find as the bunker goes down. They jump in, they don't even jump in! Moops does not find it. He's going to be the first casualty, and it may just be a snowball effect from here. There's the second kill. Konya going to be the most likely for that third. Wave 1,000 Fist punching him down. A triple for that. A quad as the Storm Bolt misses. But I tell you what, Vandy, it is complete map control. Another shaman camp picked up. The keep is going to fall. And the nail in the coffin will be Jesmis already down here to pick up that shrine.
Ooh, cheeky right there by Encore to try and get a little bit of that kill onto Hacky. The deflect was up, so no kill confirmed. And that keep, it's getting pushed down, escorted in by the shaman camp, like you said, Skimmy. As well as we do have Jesmes starting on the little dudes to get that Punisher in the bottom lane. It's going to be a Mortar Punisher at that. Crimson, they're in a very, very formidable position now. 16 still yet to be seen. It's very far off in the horizon for Pleb2Pro.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the big deciding factor for me there was the fact that the front line of Crimson was just so strong that Hacky could just stand back there, as you saw from the replay, and wait for Shadow to come on through and heal him up. Trace wasn't able to try and expose that weakness of that Divine Palm not landing, of him being very low down. And if you miss those chances, Crimson are a team that will capitalize and punish you. That they have definitely done in this game, with the keep being taken down. Up to Pleb2Pro to get as much soak as they can, and that they do in the top lane. They're unable to even find a tower, Vandy. This is really rough for them so far.
Just forced to recall right there. As you said, they wanted to try and see what value they could get. Very, very difficult when you've got the catapult constantly clearing your minion waves and pushing it back. So already that's a hard push coming in that top lane that they need to contend with. And now this Punisher, still 80% now. Mortar Punisher, yes, he is one of the weakest, but not when he's still got 80% health pool. And you've got Crimson at your doorstep, hungry to take down this keep and maybe looking for some kills to end the game.
Ultimate Evolution here. We're going to see double Genjis, and as soon as you see that, KGA jumps in. The Stormbot doesn't land, but it's not the end of the world, because now it's up to them to find some kills. Konya's so damn low. He's going to fall. We can't even find it to the bunker. Mooks is zoned out. Encore do whatever he can to try and find some kills, but the Pulse Bomb is there, and the Shadow this time connecting with the Palm. Bang! And the dirt is gone. 4 members of Pleb2Pro fall on down. The Punisher is dead, but the core is going to be clean. That's the ace. That's the game. Crimson coming into week number 2 for their second showing, getting a clean 2-0.
Crimson very, very awoke, and we saw 0 kills confirmed on the side of Pleb2Pro. That's just how hard they were really finding that game for themselves. They had multiple opportunities to try and confirm kills, but also the Divine Palm being the go-to choice for the Kharazim to, once again, similar to the Uther, almost acting like the Divine Shield. If there was going to be any kills coming out, just completely stop it and deny it. And also, I felt like Konya on the URL, he picked Sacred Ground as his heroic. So he got limited value out of it. That's due to the high mobility coming out of Crimson right there. Like, his team was just never grouped up to be able to use it. Same for Firstly's bunkers. The bunker was there. No one could really get in. And even if they did, you had Crimson just waiting to escort you to your death when you came out. So it was just a little bit hard to watch, really. They didn't really have much of a chance.
I mean, you can sort of see the idea behind it, right, is that they want to fight on that objective point, on the shrine. They want to have complete AoE control and say, look, come at us, Crimson. But the fact of the matter is, right, that Crimson were able to find picks before that could ever happen, or they were able to isolate out key targets that they had to veer away, or force, unfavorable situations where, that Wombo combo that they had drafted just was never able to fully be executed. And, the execution was there for Crimson in the end with another clean 2-0. On the night, back-to-back 2-0s with two of the best teams up against two of the newest teams to try and take their showings in this ANZ circuit. That does it for us for week number 2, Vandy. Any closing words?
No, but we will also just chuck up the standings so we can do a recap of how the week has gone so far. You can currently see Crimson, because they played the most number of games, currently sitting in that first position. Mindfreak nipping at their heels, Xylophone Dudes, Aztec, and then we've got the rest, Twisted Vision, Reality, Pleb2Pro, and the Open Qualifier team, who are deciding on their name still. So that will be announced as well, Skimmy. But apart from it, we got to see our first URL. How did that make you feel, Skimmy?
Quite excited, but at the same time, I really want to see how she unfolds when it comes to the new patch. I personally feel that she is much stronger. When I played her on this current patch, I went like 1-4. I was just like, she sucks. She actually just sucks. Like, she does nothing. Everything's a wind up. Why would I pick her when I can pick a Blaze or anybody else, right? So after the patch, especially with that Avenging Wrath damage buff, it's absolutely nuts.
She's actually hitting hard.
Talk to Winters, one of the other casters. I bodied him in quick match. He's still, rubbing off those wounds. Yeah. Playing in that filthy 5-stack. If he's watching right now, he might be blushing a little bit. But shade aside. It was obviously a fantastic showing, and 16-0 to finish off the night. Crimson are back to try and seek that first place spot, which eluded them last season. But that does it for us, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow the Blizzard_ANZ channel for all entertainment esports for the ANZ region. We're back on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. AEST, same time, same place. See you then.